So if you're thinking about starting a business in Lehigh Valley or buying a business in Lehigh Valley, I definitely want to encourage you to stay away from these 5 businesses. You do not want to get mixed up in a business that's going to fail based on the infrastructure and the layout of Lehigh Valley. And these 5 are the ones that you want to stay away from. Number 1 is going to be any sort of tech startup or heavy software computerized industry. You do not really want to get involved with this in the Lehigh Valley, and the main reason is, the Lehigh Valley's proximity is great because we're close to New York City, we're close to Philadelphia, we're close to Harrisburg. That's great for logistical purposes, for manufacturing purposes, overall, general tourism purposes. But what it's not great for is tech, because we don't have tech here. We're just starting to make semiconductors here, but we're not doing a lot of tech here, and we don't have the salary structure here to support those salaries. If you're looking at high tech industry, you're basically going to be in New York City or Philadelphia, and that's just the bottom line. We can't compete with those types of salaries, especially because of what I'm going to call the commuter factor here. You get a lot of people come in, they live in the Lehigh Valley and they go to New York City, they commute to New York City, or they live in the Lehigh Valley and they commute to Philadelphia. And a lot of people do this every day and they don't mind it. There's even talks of bringing the Amtrak all the way up from Philadelphia. It already goes halfway to Lansdale. If they bring it all the way up to Philadelphia, that's going to get even worse. You're going to get people that live in the Lehigh Valley and they're going to go right down to Philly and they're going to work, because they're going to get paid a lot more in Philly than they are up here. So that's one of the, although that Amtrak would bring a lot more people to the Lehigh Valley to live, it's not going to bring labor to the Lehigh Valley. It's just not, because of all the high-paying jobs that are southern and eastern of the valley. The further out west you go, Harrisburg, typically they're not stealing any labor unless they're working for the government there. But realistically, Philadelphia and New York, they're stealing all those high-end tech jobs. So the second one on this list is high-end luxury brands. In fashion, food industry, any high-end luxury brands, you're typically not going to see here. What you will see here is you're going to see the companies that make those high-end luxury brands. You're going to see a lot of manufacturers that are actually making the materials to make those brands. But you're not going to see, a Gucci or a Prada setting up shop in the promenade shots in Saucon Valley. It's just not going to happen. And why is that? Again, our proximity is great, but it is what is going to kill these high-end stores from coming in, because you're going to get a lot of people from the Lehigh Valley that have an easy drive to New York. If they want to go see a Broadway show, they want to go to a high-end shop or a high-end retail store, they're going to go out to New York and they're going to make a day of it. It's just the bottom line. That's what they're going to do. Or they're going to go to Philly and do the same thing. They're going to go see a Sixers game. They're going to, again, conveniently ride the Amtrak down there, come back up to Lansdale, short drive up the Blue Road on 476, and they're home. They can avoid half the traffic by doing all of that, and they could still hit all their shops that they want to and get all their high-end brands that they want to, and then come back home where their cost of living is generally normal and a lot cheaper than living in the city and having that to pay those prices regularly. But you're going to see the average family here in the Lehigh Valley. We're very family friendly. We're manufacturing oriented. Most of the industry in the Lehigh Valley are focused more towards bringing back more manufacturing, more warehousing, more logistics. We have a very strong working base for those types of things, but we're not a high-end luxury brand area. So if you're thinking about a business like that here, it's just not going to work. What you can do, and if you check out my 6 best businesses in the Lehigh Valley video, is you can set up small specialty shops. Little niche shops are going to be the ticket here if you want to get into some sort of specialty retail. That is an area where you could make a killing, depending on the area that you pick. Again, you don't want to pick an area with little foot traffic. You don't want to pick an area where you're not going to be able to showcase your small niche brand. Again, that's why you got to give us a call you got to reach out via email, because you do not want to start up a business or buy a business in the wrong area without knowing the ins and outs. You want to know every street, every corner. You want to know who's coming in, who's coming out. You want to know those business owners on the block and know the inside information. That's why you want to call us. Again, you don't want to entrust your business in something that you're not 100% sure on. So we're going to move on to number 3 on our list. So number 3 on our list is going to be tourist dependent businesses. You think zoos, aquariums, anything that is going to need a high degree of tourism is not necessarily going to be the best thing here. So we do have a lot of families in the area. There are things that they can go to, such as Crayola. Again, we have the Lehigh Valley Zoo. We have the Da Vinci Center. We have Arts Quest. We have the Steel Stacks. There's a lot of free concerts around. There's a lot of things to do, but we're not necessarily bringing in a lot of tourism. Just check Airbnb, right? If you want to just get a quick check, just check how many Airbnbs there are out there. This isn't St. Petersburg, Florida. We don't have 100,000 different Airbnbs here, because they're not supporting that type of infrastructure. We have a few base hotels strategically placed, a few Airbnbs that are probably located on farms when people want to just stay on a farm. Mainly, I see them for traveling nurses, right? So a lot of midterm rentals bring in traveling nurses in, but this isn't a high volume tourism area. If anybody's coming here, they're probably coming to see their family, or they're getting a job here that involves some sort of manufacturing or logistical thing. They're not coming in to come see the sites. It's not that the Lehigh Valley isn't a good place, but it's not necessarily a place that you're coming to see the sites for. So number 4 on our list is traditional malls and large retail stores. Think Boscov's, JCPenney's, Macy's. Clearly, those are going by the wayside, and it's no different here in Lehigh Valley. We have one large mall, Lehigh Valley Mall, and I do not recommend driving anywhere near that mall at any time of day or night. It's horrible. My wife and I used to live there in the Whitehall area, and going from 22 north up to 145 will take you 45 minutes just to get past the mall. If it's Christmas time, just avoid at all costs. Go anywhere but there. So it remains busy, but they have a lot of quirky things there. They have a Dave and Buster's. They have the Cheesecake Factory now. They have a lot of events that go on there to support those stores. They don't just have the mall there. They have produce outlet. They have a couple other small strip mall areas that are very attractive to that area as well, that drives traffic there. And again, that's really the only large retail area. There's a bunch of smaller ones which are highly profitable, and I think are a very good area that, if you were interested in more commercial buildings that had some retail, those small strip malls with an anchor store, such as like a Giant, UPS store, anything like that, are a good area to get into as well. We have a lot of those that are placed out throughout the Lehigh Valley, but really Lehigh Valley Mall is the only game in town for going to the mall. Anything else, again, we have one other one that we live nearby, is the Promenade Shops. Again, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a busy mall, though. It's a very expensive mall, and they provide so many events for kids. They have water fountains in the summer, they have concerts in the summer. In the wintertime, they have this enormous Christmas tree, and they do pictures with Santa to drive that traffic in. But there's also a lot of empty spots in that area, specifically because the rents are very high for what you're getting out of the business. We have a lot of people move out, and what we seem to be getting back in is more specialty shops and foods. I mentioned once before, you take a look at those specialty niche shops, and you find the right spot for them, and they can make a good margin. However, putting them in a large retail store or a mall, not my best recommendation. I think they're going to be too expensive there, and we do see a lot of turnover in those areas. They try to get them in and out as quickly as possible to make it a valuable area still, but I do think that they're struggling. Number 5 on my list of worst businesses to get into in the Lehigh Valley is print media and advertising. And what do I mean by print media and advertising? Newspapers, local newspapers, any small advertising and print news source is just, it's just dying. Everybody's moving digital. Everybody's trying to get on an email list, trying to get ads from somebody. I get people from the local newspaper or the local golf course call me all the time to get on their ads. And, I think they're begging people at this point because I'm a nobody and they're trying to get me on there. So that just tells me that they have nobody. So again, I see a lot of these industries going more towards sign printing for manufacturing businesses, or Amazon or FedEx or UPS, or a lot of t-shirt or embroidery companies out there, a lot of recycling companies for textiles and things of that nature. A lot of that is developing in the area in replace of these, because it's not necessarily the same industry, but the knowledge base is similar, and I see a lot of them repurposing that knowledge for that type of print advertising. But again, any sort of print media outlet is basically going to the wayside. So again, guys, that's my 5 top worst businesses in the Lehigh Valley. If you're thinking about starting one of these businesses, I highly recommend against it. Just don't. And if you need me to convince you otherwise, give me a call, send me an email. If you want to know about the best businesses in the Lehigh Valley to start, check out my video right here, and it'll take you right there.